Hey everyone, welcome back to Chipstock Investor. We have a quick update here on one of our favorite lithium company providers. On Thursday, February 15th, Albemarle will release its Q4 2023 results, and Arcadium, the product of the merger between Livent and Allkem, will release its results about a week later. But we wanted to give you an update on the company since lithium spot prices have continued to decline overall since 2022. And we have had a ton of questions on how this affects companies like Albemarle and Arcadium.
Yeah, Kasey, you can see from this chart from trading economics here, this is just the last year. You can see the overall decline. And this is basically completely unwound all of the pandemic era increases in lithium pricing. This is just one particular lithium product price. This is a quick update. We won't talk about the different types of lithium sources out there and the different pricing on them. But I think you get the gist, even as 2024 has gotten rolling in the last month, that prices continued to deteriorate. It's ugly. This is looking like a total washout of the lithium market.
Let's talk about how Albemarle has addressed this in the past. Looking at this first slide here, contract mix. I see 20% spot and 80% variable. What does that mean exactly?
Yeah, this is something that used to be in Albemarle's 10K. And then a while back, they started breaking this out as part of their slide deck. So 80% of their sales are from long-term negotiated contracts. These contracts have an average duration of 2 to 5 years in length. Basically, what that means is it's a type of futures contract. They're agreeing with their partners to lock in some sort of price, and then they're going to establish both a floor and a ceiling based on whatever the spot price is. These long-term contracts locks in a price that both parties are happy with. Albemarle gets some benefit when lithium prices are up, but they're not going to price gouge their customers. And then when lithium prices tank, their customers are happier because the price on their contract is going to come down a bit too. But Albemarle is not going to, outright operate at a loss either. So this is a bit different from spot prices. And you can see in 2023, they estimate about 20% of their sales are spot prices. This simply means that they're selling lithium based on the current market price, the price that you see listed on a media outlet, what the price is if you were to buy or sell lithium right now, today, not a futures contract that you agree to sell or buy at in the future. Most of Albemarle's sales are locked in on these long-term contracts, not based on the current spot price, like what you see in the chart that you just showed, Kasey.
Okay. So Albemarle is obviously going to be affected by an overall lower price of lithium. It has and will continue to affect Albemarle's bottom line, but it's not as simple as looking at that spot price and screaming, sell now, right?
No, absolutely not. And the same is going to be the case for Arcadium Lithium, formerly Livent, before the merger.
And Albemarle has also been very proactive in cutting costs as well to preserve their growth and maintain a healthy cash flow. We have a press release from January 17th that we'll show you, and it outlines a few key actions that are going to help the company during this downturn of lithium pricing. Can you tell us a little bit about those, Nick?
Yeah, so they're sharpening their focus on their best money-making projects right now. Kasey, what happens whenever you have market mispricing, like what we had during the pandemic? Car sales, EV sales went through the roof there for a couple of years. EV growth in particular was sky high, and there was a lithium shortage. And thus, basic econ 101, lithium prices, spot lithium prices soared sky high. And then you have a bunch of lower quality lithium projects ramp up trying to capitalize on that. And now we're in this period of excessive supply. And so, the reverse happens. Lithium spot prices come down. So in this environment, Albemarle said it's tightening its focus on its best money making operations. So it talked about these full commissioning of their trains at their Kemerton lithium conversion facility, and they're going to begin construction on train number 3. They're also going to focus on permitting in some of their best projects that aren't in production yet. And then we've talked about in the past this Albemarle Technology Park that is going to be built in North Carolina. It looks like they're going to hold off on that, delay that project a bit. And unfortunately, it does look like they are going to be laying off some of their employees. In addition to that, Kasey, they did say that they're going to be reporting some asset impairment charges for the fourth quarter. So an asset impairment, that's an asset that's listed on the balance sheet. Let's say that asset before was listed at $2 billion, and now because of market conditions, maybe it's just $1.5 billion, their estimated value of that mine. And so the asset impairment is that $500 million difference. It's a non-cash expense. They're basically just lowering what they say the value of that asset is, but it's still going to show up in GAAP net income and GAAP earnings per share. So we're curious to see what they have to say. Something similar is probably going to be happening for Arcadium as well, which is why we've been holding off on doing our deep dive video on the company. We want to get a more full, robust picture of what these companies look like after they report 2023 and their outlook for 2024.
So going into the earnings reports for these companies, do we still have faith that Albemarle should, and Arcadium for that matter, should stay in our portfolio? And we have a couple of slides here that really illustrate why we think that, yes, we can confidently say they can stay in there for now, at least.
Yeah, exactly. So the media is, per usual, just pumping headlines to get people to watch and click about EV demand, some of them more egregious than others, but talking about EV demand falling or being weak or whatever. The EV demand is actually still rising. It's just not rising as quickly as it has the last few years. So that's this first chart, right, Kasey? We shared this the last Albemarle update. This trend is, I think, going to continue to hold for years to come. So it's just slower growth, slower demand growth than in years past. The EV market's still a growth market.
Yeah, and looking at this second chart, Nick, about the inventories, you talked about how obviously Econ 101, supply and demand. We can see, though, that actually in China, where the vast majority of EV batteries are actually produced, the inventory is actually at all-time or historic lows.
Yeah, it's getting ugly. Albemarle management hinted at this a bit in their Q3 update about maybe some funny things happening. Some of these manufacturers shuffling around their inventory, delaying new inventory purchases, perhaps even, I dare to say, market manipulation happening in this market as well. Some reports suggesting, like in Australia, some investigations happening into whether there's been some intentional downward pressure applied to this to reduce lithium spot prices so that some of these companies can acquire lithium for next to nothing. It's hard to say. Let's just say that overall, this market is kind of opaque at best. We do still have confidence in Albemarle. We still do have confidence in Arcadium Lithium. Our outlook hasn't really changed. We shared our video in December saying that we were going to be purchasing some more Livent, now aka Arcadium, and we did do that. Lithium's not a new material, but the application in electric vehicle batteries and energy grid batteries is new. This is going through typical peak hype and then fallout cycle, just the norm, unfortunately, for this type of stuff.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think these charts may look very different in the next quarterly earnings slide deck. So we'll just have to see what actually comes about. But both of these companies are a very small portion of our total portfolio. We buy these stocks in batches, but still only represent a low single digit portion of our portfolio at this point. So we'll see what happens. All right, we have much more coming up your way this week and next as earnings season rolls on. We have AMD reporting and we'll get a video out to you as soon as possible. Make sure if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel and if you're interested to have a Discord, if you're interested in having Discord access, you can join our membership here on YouTube on the channel or on Ko-fi on our shop page, our membership page. Hope you all have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon here at Chipstock Investor.